it's also probable that he has a work meeting.
Thank you. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammang sanghang namasami. Dear friends, during the past weeks, during this Vasa, I have been presenting different versions of the gradual training, which is divided into the spectrum of sila or morality, the spectrum of samadhi or meditation, and the spectrum of panya or wisdom. We didn't go too much in depth about the longest and most complete version, which is like the gradual training, as you would see in the discourse, like the fruits of recluseship, number one in the long discourses of the Buddha. That one gives a very beautiful and the most extensive explanation about sila, about what right sila is. But then we noticed there were other patterns. One is the spiral path, which has the preliminary of sila, is sometimes given as the launching point for that. This is the classic in, for example, the Nidana Sutta, what Bhikkhu Bodhi translates as transcendental dependent origination. That version gives an emphasis on the stages of meditation in terms of gladdening the mind, bringing up piti or bliss, bringing up tranquility as experiences that may naturally unfold in a sequence. So once one is established, it's not necessary to use force, but simply to get out of the way and allow the subsequent factor to open up. And then from passaddhi comes the stages of development of wisdom, knowing and seeing things how they really are, becoming disenchanted with the conditioned things, experiencing the fading away of lust, and experiencing vimutti or liberation. So that's another version. Another version is the bojjhangas, the 7 factors of awakening, which also is sequential. When you get one established, if you will allow the progress to unfold, then it's normal for the subsequent stages to unfold. So then, and the bojjhanga factor, preliminary to the opening of the bojjhangas, you might see, hear, honor, and attend on an accomplished teacher, hear the Dhamma, and dwell in seclusion. And then arising from that comes sati, recollecting the Dhamma and thinking it over. Dhamma vichara, investigating the Dhamma with wisdom. Virya, which is energy, and these are all pretty much aspects of the meditation part of the threefold of the path. And then from virya, which corresponds to right effort, that's part of samadhi. Then there arises the piti, the bliss. Then there arises passaddhi, or tranquility. Then there becomes the immersion. The mind becomes immersed in samadhi. And then the culmination of this, which is opening the gateway for wisdom, is the bojjhanga, the awakening factor of equanimity, upekkha, which doesn't just mean being neutral and free from desire and aversion, but it also is upekkha in the sense of closely looking on with equanimity to experience. So the upekkha contains within it the idea of seeing, and that seeing, then that's opening the way for the wisdom stage. So that's the second one. And then another one that we looked at just last week was the one in the Rata Vinita Sutta, the relay chariots, which starts with giving kind of a nominal mention, the purification of ethics, followed, which is your sila, followed by the purification of mind, which is your samadhi, and then going in a different detailed elaboration of the different stages that could open up in terms of the evolution of wisdom. The purification of view, that's getting the stream entry and going beyond the view of the self. The purification by traversing doubt, that's also an aspect of stream entry, going beyond skeptical doubt. The purification of what is the path and what is not the path. And this, to make a stretch, that could be considered getting out of misapprehension about precepts and observances. So the clinging to superstitious precepts and observances. This, I've just this week I've been reading more about this, and very much there was the idea in the earlier traditions that a way to an awakening would be to see a holy man or a holy teacher, to see an enlightened person, that just the sight of that person is a factor in your own awakening. And then the second factor is simply to hear what that enlightened teacher has to tell you. So that's the hearing, means learning. So you learned it, but you didn't learn it from your own direct experience. You learned it from either hearing the sacred scriptures or hearing it directly from an enlightened teacher. And then conceiving or thinking or contemplating about this is described as forming, or you can see in the sutras, maybe I'll talk about this on a future time. If one attaches to a view about what is the way of practice for our group, and clings to that view that our way of practicing is right and every other way is wrong. Our way of holding the Vinaya or the precepts is right and every other way is wrong. Our way of interpreting the scripture is right and every other way is wrong. That those three things are a way to liberation. And the Buddha describes that as looking for liberation from something outside of yourself. And he says that's not the way. So the purification of knowledge and vision of what is the path and what is not the path, in that interpretation means that you know that you're not to look outside yourself for some agency that something you can attach yourself to that's going to liberate you. And then purification of knowledge and vision of the practice. That's the Patipada, that's the entire Eightfold Path that you make your own. And then the purification of knowledge and vision, that's the complete, final, enlightened understanding of the Four Noble Truths, including the direct experience of the cessation of dukkha that one would have on a complete enlightenment as an arahant. And so then the arahant who sees the entire path all the way to the complete destruction of dukkha is the one who has the fully purified knowledge and vision. So that's last time. So now I'm going to come up to another pattern. And this one is much more simplified. And it's a teaching that we see very often as 5 faculties that come to play in our practice. But in the sutta I'm going to show you is showing these 5 factors, not just being as 5 factors that need to be balanced, but that as a progression, the one supports the next, supports the next, supports the next. So this is yet another version of the gradual training. So with that, I shall turn to the sutta, which is number 48.8 in the Samyutta Nikaya, which is what should be seen, Datthabha Sutta. Mendicants, there are these 5 faculties. Faculty is in Pali an indriya, and it's got a meaning of like something that rules over a certain domain. Sometimes the 5 senses or the 6 senses are also referred to as faculties. So the faculty of seeing rules over the domain of visible objects. That's why it's called an indriya. But in this case, it's a different 5 faculties. These are the faculties of faith, saddha, energy, virya, mindfulness, sati, immersion, samadhi, and wisdom, panya. Where should the faculty of faith be seen? In the 4 factors of stream entry. Now, So stream entry is kind of like a launching point for the practice, isn't it? When somebody has gained at least the stream entry path, that they're on the road towards truly becoming what could be called a trainee in this practice, which is given to us by the Buddha, or when they've fully realized all the factors of stream entry, then they have gained a definite view of the Four Noble Truths, and they will be transformed in a way that they would not fall backwards in this lifetime. They would not fall backwards, and they could have the joy and confidence of knowing that actually they're kind of like 95% up the mountain of enlightenment, and there's still going to be at worst just a few more lifetimes left before they obtain their full awakening, and they might be able to know and have the confidence that it's that they would not be falling backwards into a woeful plane. And so these a person who's got these factors of stream entry definitely has something of value. Now I'm going to jump over to a different sutta and in order to show you what the factors of stream entry are. Okay, there's one set of four things that are sometimes called the factors of stream entry. It is having perfect faith in the Buddha, perfect faith or being accomplished in having faith in the Dhamma, and being accomplished in faith in the Sangha. And then the fourth factor is possessing sila, which is lovable to the noble ones. And so in that way, you could say that stream entry, those four factors of stream entry does at least encompass the beautiful and natural sila, which is possessed by one who has stream entry, in the sense that they would, it's because they have right thought, because they have compassion, because they have the idea of non-harming, because they have really gained something as far as the thought of renouncing sensuality, that then the five precepts of not killing, not stealing, not committing misconduct in terms of one's sexuality or one's sensuality, not undertaking false, harmful speech, and not using intoxicating drinks and drugs. Though that sila is natural and intuitive, that a person who has stream entry would not break the five precepts. And if they've undertaken further precepts, like the 8 precepts or the 10 precepts, that sometimes is taken on the Apostata Day or during a retreat, or the 311 precepts of a bhikkhuni, or the 75 secure rules of a novice, whatever precepts they've undertaken, they could have a minor fault on that, but if they have a little fault, they would immediately take care of it. So that's that natural sila. And then that faith in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha is, you could translate as confidence or trust. So it's not a blind faith, but it's because they have direct experience of, at least if they've not lived during the time of a Sammasambuddha, at least they've had a chance to encounter the teachings of the Buddha, and through the words that are handed down, able to know something of what the Buddha was, and perhaps they may have encountered teachings who have directly realized according to these teachings, and through those encounters they get some idea of what the Sammasambuddha was, and then they will have had enough confidence to try with sincerity to practice this patipada, this path of practice set forth by the Buddha, and they will have begun to experience the beauty and benefit of this path of practice, and then because of that, they will have an experiential level of confidence, and likewise they will have something validated by their experience of knowing that by practicing this path, it's possible for a human being to wake up and to obtain stages of awakening. So that having that confidence that there can be in this world an enlightened Sangha of the noble ones who have obtained the fruit that is promised by the Buddha, and which is laid out in these teachings. So that's the faith. There's a different 4 factors. The 4 that I just mentioned are said to be the qualities of somebody who has gained stream entry. And so then if you were wanting to guess whether or not somebody has stream entry or not, you might listen to them and watch them and see whether their words and their behavior gives the evidence that they really possess those qualities. But there's another version, a different 4 factors that's listed for stream entry that I wanted to mention this morning. And this is more in terms of the practice. So then thinking of this sada, this faith, or this confidence, there's a particular type of disciple of the Buddha, one who's called a faith follower. So that person has got a reasonable confidence in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and is undertaking it because of their reasonable confidence, even before they will have directly realized and known through their direct experience what that initial awakening of stream entry will be like. That person is called a faith follower. And so this factor, this is the patipada for a faith follower. This is how you should practice if you are a faith follower. If you think that you maybe have not yet gained a stream entry, or if you think that you've not yet gained a path of stream entry, but you wish to go in that direction, and you have enough confidence to be willing to try. These are the practices you should do. So this is in the Samyutta Nikaya. This is the second sutta with Sariputta. And the Buddha said to him, Sariputta, they speak of a factor of stream entry. What is a factor of stream entry? And he answers, Bhante, the factors of stream entry are associating with true persons, listening to the true teaching, wise application of mind, or rational application of mind, and practicing in line with the teaching. So, Sat Purisa is a true person. That means somebody who has realized something, and somebody who whose life is in line with the truth, in line with the Dhamma. So go to the temple, go to your meditation retreat, go to your class or your sutta study group. Go where you can find such trustworthy, true persons and get to know them. Allow them to get to know you so that they may suggest or give you advice based on what they know. That true person doesn't necessarily have to be the greatest Dhamma teacher in North America. It could be somebody who's only like a little bit ahead of you, or somebody who's not famous, somebody who has just a few students. But still, if that person is able to speak in a way that you're able to understand them, then that could be the right teacher for you to associate with. So that's to associate. And then listen to the true teaching. So the teaching is the Dhamma, and Sat Dhamma is the true teaching. That's the teaching that doesn't misrepresent or speculate or only take selectively take some part of the teachings of our teacher, the Buddha, and just teach one part and say the other part doesn't count or the other part's not important. But a person who is as accurate as you can find in their ability to understand and represent, and then listen to those true teachings, or else read the suttas, learn Pali and read the suttas in Pali, or look at several different translations and come to understand which translation is the most meaningful and the most accurate. So that in our day and age, reading suttas is the equivalent to listening to the Dhamma. Then this one, what Bhikkhu Sujato translates as rational application of mind. This is the yoni, so manasikara. So manasi is the mind, kara is to place the mind, and then yoni so is placing the mind in terms of the origination of things, or in terms of the cause, or in terms of the source. So not simply looking at the surface, but looking more deeply investigating the phenomenon that we know that we can experience. Where is this coming from? What's it based on? Yoni is has the literal meaning of the womb. So a person is born from the womb, and everything that we experience in this world arises because of causes. So if you look at where things are arising from, you're looking at them in terms of causation. This rational application, for some reason, I associate that with a radical application of mind. So if you, it's some kind of idea in math that, like, I can't explain it. I should stop now because I'm going to make an idiot out of myself trying to talk about mathematics. But this Yoniso Manasikara is where the first two factors, you're going outside to the true persons, and then you're going outside and listening to the true teaching. But with this Yoniso Manasikara, you have to come inside. You have to look within your own experience. You have to test it according to your own experience, your own inner reflections. And then the last factor, practicing in line with the teaching, is called Dhamma, Dhamma Patipati. So Patipati means practicing. And in this case, it's the Dhamma is the teachings of the Buddha, the entire teachings, including the Eightfold Noble Path. So you practice that, and you practice it anudhamma. You practice it in accord with the Dhamma. Dhamma has one meaning is like the Buddha's teaching. It's in a certain way, it means like what we should do, like we should practice. One who wants liberation should practice along the lines of the Eightfold Noble Path. And then Dhamma also has the meaning of truth or reality or the actuality of the way things are. So you practicing the whole of the Eightfold Path, not just pick and choosing. Don't just say, I'm going to take 1 through 7 and skip number 8. Or I'm going to take 1 through 3 and skip the rest of them. Try to practice the entire practice that's given to us. And also try to seek for that which is true, that which is in accord with reality. Don't just cling to some kind of a view, some kind of perception, some kind of conception, or some kind of conceit, or some kind of opinion about what the Dhamma is saying, but keep like testing the Dhamma and testing this practice against reality as you're able to experience it directly. So you keep your Dhamma truthful. So this is would be the practice of somebody who is a faith follower. And that's the starting point for these factors. Now, I'm going to go back to the factor where I was before. Where should the faculty of faith be seen? In the 4 factors of stream entry. So if you're practicing with these factors, then the next point is where should the faculty of energy be seen? And that should be in the 4 right efforts. The 4 right efforts are part of the spectrum of meditation to find out how to distinguish the skillful and unskillful states, how to prevent or abandon the unskillful states, or how to arouse the skillful states are, once the skillful states are to be found within us, to cultivate, develop, and cause them to be sustained and cause them to reach the full perfection of development. So that's the 4 right efforts. So that's part of meditation. And in this case, perhaps you can see that it would be natural, the one who has confidence in the path, that would be the most normal thing of all, to become interested, to become motivated, to become energized for the purification of the mind. So you're no longer contented to have an ugly mind. You know that it's possible to have that clarity, that tranquility, that freedom, and that beauty of a pure mind, and that's possible to strive for that, and worth striving for, worth making the effort. Looking back on my own story, I know for sure that for many people, the ugly states of mind are seem to be impossible to avoid, impossible to prevent. And once those horrible states of mind have taken hold, it can sometimes seem to be like impossible to shake them off. And eventually we can find out, we can shake them off, for a minute, and then they seem to come back again and again. And so we, continue with this effort. The mind is naturally more sensitive to things which are dangerous and hurtful. It's just kind of like the way the human being is built, because if you eat something that's rotten or poison, you might not get a second chance. But if you fail to eat something that's delicious and nutritious, you probably would get another chance. So it's because of that the mind is sensitized to dangers, and so somebody could spend a long time with those first 2 efforts, just finding out how to stop being a victim of the horrible states of mind, and realizing that actually they have a choice. They've got the power. You have the agency. You have the right. That you don't need to welcome bad states of mind. That it's possible to find out how to let them go by, and then one may then discover that these beautiful and wholesome states of mind are not just things that randomly come along from time to time, because of some inspiration, because of some setting, because of something that happened. Something has aroused our compassion, aroused our kindness, aroused our interest, aroused any of the wholesome and positive states. One can come to see that through training, we can develop the ability to bring up positive states of mind whenever we like to. So that's the right efforts. And then when you have mastered the right effort, then next factor, where should the faculty of mindfulness be seen? In the 4 kinds of mindfulness: mindful contemplation of the body, mindful contemplation of feeling, mindful contemplation of states of mind, and mindful contemplation of the Dhamma factors. And so once we are no longer controlled or like a puppet to the different moods and states of mind that come along, once we have some choice, then we have enough calmness to maybe let go a bit of that strong willpower kind of effort, and just look and see what's there, what's present, and be able to see all those factors, including the wholesome and unwholesome states of mind, as well as what's manifesting in the body and with the feelings, seeing them with compassion and clarity, and being able to allow that the positive and the negative do arouse for a human being. We have both kinds. And it's not necessary to be disturbed by anything that comes along, but instead one can begin to see with wisdom and just watch those phenomena in terms of their arising and their cessation, their arising and cessation, to see them in terms of impermanence. That's the beginning of a wisdom factor, of looking at them in that way, as something which is impermanent and therefore, by extension, not a self. So then one is not necessarily to be disturbed by anything that arises to our experience through those four foundations, and then one can, in an even-minded way, just look on and acknowledge the bare fact of the phenomenon that can be experienced within. So that's the faculty of mindfulness. And then the faculty of immersion is samadhi. That's explained by Venerable Sariputta in terms of the four jhanas, for second, third, and fourth, which are to be experienced in particular when one is able to gain seclusion from the unwholesome states of mind, and in particular seclusion from the craving that's arising from a distorted experience with the five senses. So in a certain way, dropping back with that mindfulness, you see what's arising through the five senses, how that's manifesting in the body, how it's manifesting in the feelings, how it's manifesting in the states of mind, and you see those things in a way which is disinterested and detached, which is not affected by craving and desire, and which is not distorted because of misconceptions or inaccurate perception, where because of liking and disliking, because like if there's a feeling, and because of that feeling a person gets triggered, because they get to be emotionally aroused, and then because they dislike something, then they see all the bad aspects of it, and then they see the nimitta of something that's ugly or horrible and start reacting to that. That's the opposite of mindfulness, is like the prejudiced perception, which is based on trying to get some gain for the self or some kind of protection for the self. But instead, the mindfulness is not subjected to that kind of prejudice, but instead, the mindfulness is a kind of like a trained, different way of training the way of perceiving what you experience, so that you look at it in a different way, in a way which is detached, which is equanimous, and which is able to see what's arising more accurately, more in accord with reality the way it really is, without distortions. And so, because of that mindfulness and being able to experience the input from the senses without those that distorted perception and the reactivity that's coming along because of those distortions, then the mind is able to be calm. And so because of that mindfulness, then naturally one is then able to enter into the jhana, so you would be having that seclusion because retraining one's way of seeing and perceiving things according to mindfulness has made it possible to step away from that reactivity. And then you've got the calmness. One is able to disengage from that craving, that reactivity, and one is able to, with greater and deeper stillness, to especially turn the awareness inwards towards being aware of the states of mind, inward towards, you could say, towards consciousness itself, and able to examine those states. So that's the faculty of immersion. And then, and that arises naturally from mindfulness. And then Sariputta says, where should the faculty of wisdom be seen? In the Four Noble Truths. This, in a way, is bringing us in a kind of a full circle over the past weeks. We've had some more like elaborated or complicated explanations of the things that can be seen with wisdom. But this is coming back full circle to wisdom in terms of seeing with the pattern of the Four Noble Truths, which is a way of seeing, so that when that wisdom has come along, even if, and in a certain kind of way, this whole practice feels to me like this is about the practice of a trainee, perhaps not yet describing the way the path would be manifest in a fully enlightened arhat, or way the practice would be manifested in a Samma Sambuddha, but instead the way the practice, the way this progressive sequence of factors would be experienced by somebody who is still a trainee, someone who has still not yet obtained that perfection, somebody who's could even be a faith follower, or somebody who could be someone who's gained stream entry, who's somewhere, who is a noble disciple of the Buddha, but has not yet reached the goal. And so for that person, if they've not yet reached the goal, they would still be directly touched by dukkha from time to time. And at every instant when the mind, and I'm saying directly touched, there's a way that the fully enlightened Arahant still knows what dukkha is. The fully enlightened Arahant can see dukkha completely clearly. They don't forget what dukkha is. That's why they have compassion for the world. But they see dukkha, but they're not participating in dukkha anymore. But one who's still a trainee would be touched, would be seized by dukkha from time to time. And because of the arising of that wisdom through the progression of mindfulness and the tranquility, the unification of the mind through the sama samadhi, through the jhanas, then they would have a different kind of clarity about how dukkha is created by the mind. How dukkha doesn't come from any place else. It's not because so-and-so always do that to me. That is the cause of dukkha. It's not because the world is a terrible place is the cause of dukkha. It's not because the body is subject to old age, sickness, and death. It's the cause of dukkha. It's because of the mind and how the mind fabricates the dukkha. And this is what is seen quickly and easily by the trainee who's got hold of the method of the Four Noble Truths. And as soon as they are touched by dukkha in that way, they would naturally and easily see how the craving or some combination of craving and clinging, those two things are factors that are very closely connected, is where the dukkha is arising from. And they would quickly investigate within, and they would quickly say, "Oh, what am I craving? What am I hanging on to? There's something that I've acquired and started to identify with, something I've gained some conceit about something. And that's the reason I've been touched by this dukkha, is because there's still some aspect of that craving is still left in me." And then having that opportunity and having this way of seeing by way of the method of the Four Noble Truths, then they would they've developed the what's called the perception of sabba sankhara anicchati, which could be translated as having no wish for any of the conditioned things. And so they see the dukkha and immediately want to go the other direction, just like touching a hot stove. As soon as seeing it, then as soon as recognizing that craving or that acquisition, immediately they want to drop it. And that's what the method of seeing with the Four Noble Truths is giving, like a rocket power to the patipada. So it's both a wisdom of what one knows, and it's also still a practice. It's like it's a way of seeing, a way of experiencing. And that one would be able to, retrospectively, to some extent, perhaps as a trainee, not yet completely, but to some extent, you would have the view and the vision of the entirety of this path of practice, the Dhamma Nu Dhamma Patipatiya, which is what I mentioned before is what we're striving for stream entry, and that practice, after getting stream entry, you continue with that practice. You continue practicing the Dhamma according to the truth until coming to the liberation, the freedom of mind, the destruction of the defilements, and the experiential direct knowledge of that liberation. So, in this sense, as I'm saying, there's a way that all of these factors are present for one who's fully realized, but I think that all of these factors are also quite relevant for one who's a trainee. And so very relevant for us, and also easy to remember. So there's only 5 things to remember, and each one only has 4, so you only got 20 things to remember. That's it's not too much, and it's an easy pattern to practice with. Okay, so and now I've gone on. I've used up almost the entire hour, and I'm seeing greetings from Gregory Manal, Yankee, Jayanta, Brian, and Louis. So greetings to all of you, and perhaps this may be enough. I thank you all for your patient listening. Sadhu, 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 anumodami.